If you're watching this video, then it means you have trouble finding the time to learn a language. Maybe you're like this person who asked, how do you dedicate so much time to language learning? It is a very good question, and I appreciate you giving me your time by watching the video, so I'm not going to mess you about with. In this 4-hour video, I will present to you 57 effective time-saving methods. No, I have 3 tips. It'll take 9 minutes, and I guarantee if you're not doing these already, it'll give you at least an extra few hours a week. That's actually a modest estimate. So keep watching, listen to all 3 tips, and get yourself some more of that sweet language learning time. Let's go. So first up, we have task chunking. This goes by a few different names: grouping, bulk tasking, whatever. The idea is that for many tasks in our lives, the doing of the task itself accounts for less than half of the total time taken. For example, if I make a proper coffee at home, it takes me about 10 minutes, but if I order exactly the same thing in a cafe, it only takes them 2 minutes. That's because in the cafe, everything is just ready to go. The bits they need to make specifically my coffee, none of that takes very long. But if I were to walk in first thing in the morning, they hadn't turned the machine on, there were no beans in the grinder, the milk was in the thing out the back called that keeps the milk cold, that's called the fridge, then it would all take many times longer. Now maybe you're thinking, yeah, but you can't bulk learn a language. It's not like you can just cram 15 hours into a single day. Sounds like a wager to me. No, I certainly don't recommend that, but there probably are tasks in your life that you could actually bulk, and you're just in the habit of doing them afresh every time because that's the way you've always done it. That stuff is robbing you of time spent with your target language. A good example for me would be making these videos. I used to bulk record these because I had crappy equipment and setup took several hours, but then I got better equipment, cut down on my setup time, and started recording one video at once. But then I realized that it's still much faster to record multiple videos at a time. So it still relieves the pressure and gives me back, I would conservatively estimate, 2 free days per month. If I were to spend 2 working days extra per month on my language learning, that would be more than half an hour a day for the whole month. Have a think about what this might be for you. Even if it's only something small, it could be worth a few hours a month. That's more time spent on language learning or other awesome things like subscribing to this channel. Next up, we have committing to some kind of solid goal or challenge that will force you to spend the time learning a language. Now, you might be thinking, that doesn't free up any time, that just changes how I'm spending my time. But those two are really the same thing, because when you are forced to spend your time on something that you hadn't been prioritizing, in this case language learning, it's the unimportant stuff that just shifts aside. Speaking of which, I'm bringing this up because it's timely right now. Ollie Richards is offering his StoryLearning courses for crazy Black Friday prices, $97 instead of $297 or even more for some of them. They're a great way to implement this that I'm talking about right now, and I have tried them myself. I never recommend things that I haven't tried. I found the course to be fun. You do learn a lot. I thought it was a great way to get into a language if you're a beginner, or if there's an intermediate course available, a great way to level up your skills a little bit further. This really is one of those like once a year kind of Black Friday specials. These kinds of discounts on these courses don't come along very often. I do think they're going to be worth it for most people. They are affiliate links, so they do help me to keep making these videos. So thanks for using them, and thanks to Ollie for providing them. So as I was saying, when you commit yourself to something that you would normally only do when you have the time, it's not things like eating and showering that don't happen. It's the dumb stuff that stops. The scrolling of Instagram, checking news feeds, all that junk that we fill up our lives with tends to drop off, and you don't notice anything important change. Instead, you just think, why didn't I do this ages ago? Because suddenly I'm spending 2 hours a day in my target language and I'm just wasting less time. Nothing has suffered as a result. It's a win-win. I've had very recent first-hand experience of this, which I'll tell you about now because it's a perfect segue into the third and most powerful piece of advice, which is start exercising now. I have been lucky enough to experience the benefits of exercise in the last 3 to 4 months, and it has been amazing. I used to run a lot. I was actually kind of fast, depending on whom one compares me to. But then one day I just kind of didn't do it for about a week, and the week became a month, and the month became a year. And as of July 2022, it had been 5 to 6 years since regular exercise. So in late July, I realized that I needed a goal, something tangible to help get me off the couch every night. So I signed up for a half marathon that was about 3 months away. Now, 3 months from zero activity to a half marathon is pretty quick, but I knew that mathematically it was doable, provided that I trained roughly every second day. It took me up until about 3 weeks before the race to feel like running was normal, that it didn't drain my energy. That is to say, it took about 10 weeks to feel that way. But in those last 2 to 3 weeks before the race, everything was focused on just getting to race day, uninjured, feeling fresh, etc. So I didn't really notice what had happened until the day after the race. You would assume that the day after running 21 Ks under the Australian sun, I would be completely wrecked, but I wasn't. I actually felt pretty good. And the day after that, that was a Monday that I wrote the script for the video you're watching right now. And I felt amazing. I had so much energy. Remember that not even 4 months before, I was doing nothing at all, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that I couldn't run 1K. Less than 4 months later, 21 Ks in the sun, next day, day after that, feeling great, writing scripts, etc. My point is that it is so easy to forget that exercise does not drain your energy. It gives you energy if you can just get to the point that you're doing it regularly. If we compare how I feel now to how I felt on a daily basis back in July before I started, I'd say that it's about a 60% increase in energy levels. Again, that's a conservative estimate. That's equivalent to a more than 9-hour gain from every waking day. Even if I include the time I spent putting my shoes on, getting dressed, showering, etc., the time I spent training for the race averages out to about 50 minutes a day. 50 minutes in for 9 hours back is already an amazing return, and you don't need to do anywhere near that much exercise to feel the same benefit. But as a language learner, that's not even the whole picture, because while you're exercising, that's also really good target language time. I've talked before about the benefits of exercising whilst listening to audiobooks. If it's quite vigorous exercise, you mightn't get quite as much out of the language, but it's still doing something, and you'll most likely sleep better. Sleeping better leads to better memory, more focus. It doesn't really matter which way you look at it. Exercising leads to better mental acuity that far outweighs the time you need to spend on it, especially if some of that time is spent in your language. So I mentioned at the end of the second benefit how I know that it's the unimportant stuff that gets shafted when you sign up for some kind of challenge or just challenge yourself. That's how I know. It's because since I started running again in July, I have not once felt like I had less time. Even at the start, while it was draining my energy, running at nighttime just meant less time spent on meaningless garbage like Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree. I know that last one might sound a bit weird to people, but Gumtree shopping and just online used goods, it's just my thing. If you commit yourself to a goal that you don't think you have time for, you'll learn how much time you really do have. So get yourself going on a new target language or level up the current language skills you have by signing up for some kind of course or challenge or something. It doesn't have to be StoryLearning, but if you are interested in that, links are in the description. Another one is to complete tasks in bulk if possible. And most importantly, if you're not exercising, start doing it. Get some friends together, sign up for a race, go running together, get to the gym, whatever, get out there, get healthy, be a better language learner. My name's Lamont. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, technically it's actually 2 videos, but they're coming out very close together. You've got to watch them both, you guys. Oh, you have to. I can't say anything. Watch them. Bye.